The one I killed was only one among millions of monsters. These creatures have two deadly weaknesses. The first is their eyes. One arrow to the eye can kill them instantly. The second weakness sounds a bit strange. They are afraid of magnetic interference. As soon as they touch a magnet, they fall asleep immediately. But all their actions are controlled by a magnetic field. If the monster leader dies, all the other monsters will fall asleep at once. So whenever the monster army attacks, dozens of elite beasts stay behind to protect the leader. And the leader is not just a commander. His most important job is to keep consuming food and reproduce countless monster offspring. The warriors on the Great Wall were fully prepared. We were divided into 5 military units, each with a different armor color: purple spear fighters, yellow engineers, black heavy infantry, red range troops, and blue grappling units. At that moment, swarms of monsters appeared in the empty canyon. The general immediately ordered a long-range attack. The giant stones on the wall were soaked in fire oil. Then, the one I killed was only one among millions of monsters. These creatures have two deadly weaknesses. The first is their eyes. One arrow to the eye can kill them instantly. The second weakness sounds a bit strange. They are afraid of magnetic interference. As soon as they touch a magnet, they fall asleep immediately. But all their actions are controlled by a magnetic field. If the monster leader dies, all the other monsters will fall asleep at once. So whenever the monster army attacks, dozens of elite beasts stay behind to protect the leader. And the leader is not just a commander. His most important job is to keep consuming food and reproduce countless monster offspring. I walked into the mall and was shocked to see countless hellish spirits crawling all over the place. Even stranger, the people around me couldn't see those monsters at all. They were still chatting and laughing like nothing was happening. I was the only one on the verge of breaking down because I knew the appearance of these monsters meant a massacre was about to happen. Suddenly, a scream came from the distance. Everyone immediately panicked and ran in all directions, but the mall doors were locked shut while everyone else rushed to escape. I ran against the crowd into the mall. Sure enough, I saw a gunman loading an M16, and then he started firing wildly into the crowd. When I saw my girlfriend standing right in his line of fire, I instantly pulled out my pistol and tried to rush in to take him down, but my shooting skills were terrible, and every shot missed by just a little. Right then, the monsters suddenly surrounded me, trying to stop me from moving forward. I fought my way out with everything I had, and finally landed a shot that killed the gunman. I rushed to my girlfriend. The whole place was a mess. Bullet holes covered the walls. Finally, my girlfriend stood up safely. But the next second, another ghost suddenly appeared. I heard a woman on the other side screaming for help. I realized the danger wasn't over yet, so I ran after her as fast as I could. Only then did I realize she was the spirit of someone who had just died. She led me all the way to the basement before vanishing, and I instantly understood that the real danger was hiding inside that car. When the driver and I saw the car door slowly opening, we both started shaking in fear. Time passed quickly, and suddenly a ghost appeared behind us. It glanced at the police officer in the distance, then dove straight into his body. The officer was instantly possessed by the ghost. The driver yelled for everyone to run, but it was already too late. My gift was thrown to the center of the ice by the school bully, so I had no choice but to walk toward the middle of the lake. Suddenly, the ice under my feet cracked. The freezing water shocked me awake instantly. No matter how hard I struggled, the ice above my head pushed me into total despair. At that critical moment, I suddenly awakened my superpower. I teleported straight into the school library, bringing the lake water with me. Everyone around me looked terrified and confused, and all I felt was freezing cold. After that, I rushed home, only to be met with my drunk father's yelling. When he opened the door, I suddenly teleported back to the library. That was when I finally realized I had an unbelievable power. After that, I started secretly practicing teleportation. At first, I couldn't even control the distance. But after trying again and again, I finally learned to teleport precisely to anywhere within my line of sight. One day I was reading a magazine. There was a photo of the Empire State Building. Old memories suddenly came rushing back. My mom had taken me there when I was a kid. and in the blink of an eye, I crossed thousands of miles and teleported straight to the top of the Empire State Building. Turns out I can teleport not only to places I can see, but also to places I can imagine. In that moment, I knew my life was about to change forever because of my father's abuse. My mother had divorced him long ago, and I decided to escape that home for good. When I first arrived in New York, I rented a tiny rundown apartment, but soon I ran out of money. And because I wasn't an adult yet, I couldn't get a job anywhere. Feeling hopeless, I walked to a bank and came up with a crazy plan. I walked inside pretending I needed the bathroom and asked the security guard to walk me through the vault area. Right before the vault door closed, I memorized every detail inside. That night, I focused on recalling the image of the vault, and then I actually teleported into the vault. My mother watered the stone every day. She said that if she watered it 2,000 times, the stone would grant any wish, but I didn't believe her at all. I picked up a crowbar and knocked the stone over. Then I picked it up and carried it away. The villagers immediately clasped their hands together and began praying. But what they didn't expect was, I carried the stone straight to the waterfall. Then I told my mother that this would water it 5,000 times in an instant. But soon something magical happened. Suddenly a mask fell at my feet. From that day on, I stared at the mask every day, until one day I accidentally made a rubbing of the face on the mask. I slowly began to draw the face of the mask's owner, but I felt a stirring in my heart. So I rushed upstream toward the waterfall. When I reached the waterfall's upper stream, I saw a fairy covered in colorful butterflies. Then I jumped toward the fairy with all my might, but as soon as I grabbed the branch, the fairy disappeared. I followed the fairy's guidance. Climbing for 3 days and nights through the waterfall, I finally made a bow and arrow from a branch. With one leap, I shot an arrow. The sword pierced the giant tree at the mountaintop and got stuck. I finally reached the top. At that moment, the fairy was right in front of me. I reached out to touch her, but Alice turned into a butterfly and flew away. I searched the woods for the fairy's trace. Suddenly, I heard a scream. I rushed over to check. I found Alice running out of the woods, and behind her, a group of soldiers were chasing her. Clearly, Alice was being hunted to prevent Alice from being harmed. I followed them. What I didn't expect was, just when the soldiers were about to catch Alice, she suddenly shouted a mysterious incantation. A sword suddenly flew from the air. Alice turned and the sword pierced through the soldier's body. Then the other soldiers also fell down. It turned out there were many archers hidden in the trees. Alice killed all the soldiers below without getting a single drop of blood on her. At that moment, I felt a stir in my heart. So to capture her, I set a trap to lure her over. Before long, she fell into the trap. I happily went to check, but then I felt a sword pressed against my back. She had somehow hidden behind me. The sword pierced into my body. I then said that I had fallen in love with her and hugged her tightly. Unfortunately, we rolled down the snow-covered mountain. Alice was extremely angry at that moment. She wanted to kill me, but I did a backflip and tore off her sleeve. Then I turned around and removed her outer clothes, lifted her fluffy long hair, and pressed her under the waterfall to bathe. I crushed some fruit and applied eyeliner and lipstick on her. She turned around and saw that I was holding her lost mask. At that moment, she realized I had come for her. She then hugged me, moved by my gesture, but she still needed to save the princess. She took the opportunity to drug me and left alone. But as soon as she stepped out, something unexpected happened. A soldier suddenly threw a fishing net, successfully capturing Alice. Just as they were about to bully Alice, I showed up in time. Seeing the soldiers getting closer, I quickly pushed a giant rock down. It successfully blocked the pursuing soldiers. But what I didn't expect was, the impact of the rock triggered a landslide. I quickly tore off some tree bark and slid out with Alice. Just as the snow was about to bury us alive, we saw a cliff ahead. Then I rushed forward. We narrowly escaped death. Not long after I arrived at the palace. At the palace, a giant king statue was being erected, but unexpectedly a slave slipped and caused a chain reaction.